I didn't want to close out the year doing a copyright rant video, but I really have to document this. There's this video here about Pioneer cassette deck, and a few people have noticed that recently it was taken down and no longer available to be viewed on YouTube due to a copyright claim. And that's a persistent problem with these audio equipment review videos. You naturally have to play some music to demonstrate them, and you end up with copyright claims on your videos no matter how short of a clip you use in your video. And I dispute every single one of them as fair use, and ultimately I'm successful in many of those disputes. In this case, they rejected my disputes and I followed it up with an appeal. And there were originally 2 copyright claims on the video. One of them has since disappeared, but this one came back again. What happened is they rejected my appeal, and when that happens, normally it says you have 7 days to either cancel your appeal or wait for it to take down your video, after which point you will get a copyright strike on your account, but you can follow up with a counter notification. And in that situation, the company putting the copyright claim on your video has to take you to court, or else after 10 to 14 business days, their claim on your video will be removed and the copyright strike will be removed and the video will be restored. But in this case, something very weird happened. You can see it is saying that takedown is scheduled for this video, but it's saying it's scheduled for December 31st, 1969. Now, if you know anything about the Unix operating system, time began in the Unix operating system on January 1st, 1970. That's the very first day of the clock system that Unix uses, and many websites, apparently including YouTube, run on Unix or Unix-based operating system. And there's a bug occurs that if you specify some unknown date, like for example, say a year of -1 got into the system somehow, it shows up as December 31st, 1969, which would also happen, I believe, in 2038. It would wrap back around to 1970 if they don't update it to a 64-bit time system, but that's a subject for another video. So this is actually not the first time this happened to my video. This happened last week, and I documented it in this Reddit thread. You can see 5 days ago. They had the same message saying it will be taken down on December 31st, 1969. And I did reach out to Team YouTube on Twitter, and to my surprise, they actually did respond to me, and they said they've received similar reports and they'll look into it. And I updated it again. Let me see when that was. That was 4 days ago, so a day later. I said apparently it's now 1969 again, because that copyright strike did happen on that video, and the video was taken down, and I immediately filed a counter notification against it. And another update just a day ago, without needing to wait for that 10 to 14 day period which I talked about, YouTube sent me an email saying my counter notification was successful and the video was restored and the strike was removed from my account, all of which was true. But what also reappeared was this takedown scheduled for December 31st, 1969, which is actually illegal. According to the DMCA, the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, if your counter notification is successful and the copyright claimant does not sue you, the copyright claim is supposed to be permanently removed from the video and it's supposed to never be able to come back. Well, in this case it did, and this is what's really annoying me, and it may end up getting me a second copyright strike for the same copyright claim on the video, which is not supposed to happen. I reached out to YouTube in every way possible to me, first on Twitter, and they replied, "We've checked your account and no longer see any active strikes." Well, that's true. It's not an active strike because it hasn't happened yet. But I'm saying they're threatening it's going to take down my video and give me another strike for the same video whenever it decides that it's December 31st, 1969 again. And they tell me to get back to them if the issue persists after 48 hours. Well, we'll see, I guess, tomorrow, January 1st, if it's 1969 again. I also emailed YouTube Partner Support through that address there, because the way they tell you to do it through the website, going to the Get Support menu and then clicking on Get Creator Support, no longer works. That option is no longer available. So it appears that YouTube does not officially offer email support to YouTube partners, and I've talked about this with another YouTube partner who said his ability to do that has also been removed. But I did luckily save the email address they use, which is yt-partner-support@google.com. And they wrote back to me and said, well, we don't deal with copyright issues in this partner support team. You have to email copyright@youtube.com, which I did as well. But in my past experience with sending emails to that copyright@youtube.com address, they either never respond at all or they take weeks to respond, sometimes up to a month. And obviously I'm getting tired of waiting weeks and months to get this copyright claim removed from the video, so I'm really starting to get rather frustrated. And I even threatened that if this copyright claim keeps coming back, even though my counter notification was supposed to have permanently removed it, I'm considering this to be harassment, and I'll have a lawyer file a cease and desist letter against the claimant, which I believe is Sony Music Entertainment and Universal Music Group, and also YouTube. So I may end up having to do that. Normally it costs a couple $100 to get one of those letters filed, but I'll see what I can do, because it's really starting to get ridiculous. I mean, you can even see this information that's supposed to be filed out. That's another legal requirement of the DMCA. They're supposed to tell you the email address of who filed the claim on your video and what they're exactly claiming, and this is all blank. So I guess I'll just have to sit here and wait until midnight and see if December 31st, 1969 happens on January 1st, 2020. With how screwed up YouTube is lately, I wouldn't be surprised.
I think it's time, Richard, that you complained.
About what?
About these wrong numbers for the Chinese takeaway. No, I do not have a special offer on spicy prawn balls. This is not the Chinese takeaway. And will you please get off my white slimline telephone with last number redial?